Welcome to the Her Business podcast, the show dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs grow their businesses and do what they love every day. I'm your host, Susie Daphnis. I'm also the CEO at Her Business, and we're Australia's leading business networking and mentoring organisation for women who have businesses generating more than $100,000. Now, we have a free Facebook group, and that's for women who aren't yet part of our beautiful Her Business network. And recently, I asked, what topics would you like me to create episodes on right here on the Her Business podcast? And a question came up about mentoring. Now, I'm a big fan of mentoring. I've had a mentor for most of my business life. And so the question I want to answer today is, how do you know if a mentor is right for you? And I want to give you 8 tips for finding your ideal mentor. So to kick us off, I think it's really important to distinguish between a mentor and a coach because they're not the same thing. And so I want to give you the differences. So a coach is usually someone who focuses on tasks and priorities to achieve a specific outcome. And then they keep you accountable for those tasks and outcomes and doing what it is that you say you're going to do. So they don't necessarily have to have done what it is that you want to do, whether that's growing a 6-figure business or introducing new pricing or launching an e-commerce store, right? They don't have to have done that, but they have a skill set to help you set up tasks and keep you on track and check in with you. A mentor, however, is someone who has had a business before. They don't have to have a business like yours, but they've got the first-hand experience and the skill set in some area that you are seeking counsel. So they don't have to be from your industry, and we'll talk more about that later on. But instead of being task-oriented, a mentor will focus on developing you as a person, as well as guiding you in the right direction to meet your goals. So it's really about your agenda. So mentors are more of a wise sounding board than someone who tracks specific accountability like a coach does for you. So whereas a coach might have a specific process or a specific agenda, your mentoring relationship is going to have a looser agenda and be a little more self-directed and based on your specific needs at any given time, because your needs will change the longer you're in business as different things crop up. So you're adding team members, or you're implementing new technology, or you're taking on a new market. So here's my checklist of whether you even need a mentor. So here's what I think about. Are you currently spending more time working in your business than on your business? That is, are you caught up in the day-to-day running of the business and you're not getting the time and energy to focus on planning and building and strategizing? And this will happen especially if your business is in a growth phase, which is where a lot of our members are, and that's why they join the Her Business network. And perhaps you don't have a business plan or a clear vision for your goals for your business, or maybe you have a plan, but it doesn't really reflect the vision that you have right now. Maybe you wrote a business plan for a bank manager like I did in the early days of my business, but it sits in a drawer and it doesn't really inspire you. It's not a working document that you refer to. Or it could be that you're at the stage in your business where you really need to make new connections, collaborations, build a bigger network. Or maybe you are at that stage where you're hiring, and that has a whole lot of knowledge that goes with that about recruiting and keeping and maintaining and training. This is one of the areas I really love to mentor our members about. Like, how do I grow a team that's reliable, that takes me out of the day-to-day? So perhaps your area of growth is in managing or growing a team. And so that might be why you want to have a mentor. Or maybe you need someone who can help you get more sales and customers, not by doing the work for you, but because they have some great knowledge and can mentor you on how to do that. So when I started my business, finances weren't a strength of mine. It's something that I've had a lot of mentoring on over the years because I was a marketer and I had a promotions background. I was great at communications. But when it came to the numbers, I didn't really want to know about it because it was just too confronting and too hard for me. But now numbers are my friend. They help me stay on track. I know what I'm doing. It helps me correct my course when I can look at the numbers and see how the business is performing. So that, again, is one of the things that I love, to ensure that our members have a strategy about their numbers. They're looking at their numbers. We're regularly checking in to see how their numbers are tracking. But the important thing is to know, you're either making a profit or you're moving towards making a profit. You want to know what it costs you to run your business. And there's a lot of financial things that are crucial for you to know. You don't have to be a bookkeeper. In fact, I encourage you not to be the bookkeeper in your business. But if you're isolated, if you're overwhelmed, if you need someone who's already been there, done that, then you want to look at getting some mentoring. And there's one more scenario I want to share with you, which will be an indicator that perhaps a mentor is right for you. And that is that perhaps things have plateaued in your business. You've used all the tools in your toolkit, but now you're just flat or you're starting to go backwards. So if you've been in business for a while and now something needs to change, but you're not sure where to start, that could be an indication that a mentor could be right for you. So if you answered yes to any of these questions, now might be the perfect time to consider finding a mentor. And as I said, I'm going to give you a couple of tips for finding your ideal mentor. So, the first thing about mentors is to look for someone who has a proven track record. So, this is someone who's achieved results in the area that you need help in. So, for instance, if you want to expand your retail store, looking for someone successful in that area would be the thing to do. So many of you will know Janine Ellis from Boost Juice. She sought a mentor very early in her business, and she didn't find someone else in the food industry. She knew she wanted to franchise. So she found mentors who were in franchising. In fact, the flight centers, the travel centers, she got then it was a much smaller business, but she got the founders to be her mentors. And I think she also got someone who was in bakeries who had franchises. So this is what I said earlier about they have a track record, but they don't have to be in your industry. So she was looking for someone who could mentor her in franchising. And now when we decided that we wanted to do more on the internet, and this was many years ago, it was very new. Right, very few. I had an events business, and very few people were using the internet. Hardly anyone had an email address or a website, and nobody really understood how to use the internet as a marketing tool. But I could see the potential in my business. I needed to find the right mentor to help me move the business online, and those sorts of mentors were really hard to find. In fact, I went to Canada to learn more about marketing on the internet, and I met a wonderful young man named Corey Rudel, who became my internet marketing mentor for a number of years and became a very good friend. And what he taught me at the time, and this is in the late 90s, it gave me a major competitive advantage over here in Australia, because a lot of people had not yet been able to get their hands on the strategies, the ideas to get the level of support that I got from Corey. And I worked with him, as I said, for a number of years, and he taught us a lot about online email marketing, which was then very new. So you want to find someone with a proven track record in whatever area it is that you want to learn. The other thing is for the mentor to have the right strengths and weaknesses. And by that, I mean, if they have the same strengths and weaknesses as you, then it's going to be really hard for them to help you grow. So if you're weak in finances and that's an area you want to grow, you definitely want to find someone who's strong in that area. So that's pretty straightforward. The other thing you want to think about when you're finding a mentor is the price point. So I've had both paid and free mentoring relationships. So right now I have a mentor that I pay every year to be my mentor. But in the past, I've had both paid and free mentoring relationships. Some mentors I've had for a few months, others I've had for years. So it's important to find a solution that's going to work for your budget. And while it's possible to find mentors who will sponsor you for no charge, you want to make sure that they can actually devote the amount of time and energy to the mentoring process that you're going to need to get your goals. So paid mentoring services are an option, and prices can range from a few $100s a session to thousands of dollars per session and many thousands of dollars per year. So it's really important to get it right for whatever is right for your business right now. And, I'm a big fan of investing in your business. And as I said, mentoring is something that I've invested in from very early in my business. And I really see it as the reason why I've been able to pivot and change and grow and continue to be a leader in our field, because I keep getting that support from the people who have the knowledge when I need it. Another tip for finding a mentor is not to be fooled into thinking that a mentor has to be from your industry. And I gave you this example with Janine Ellis, and we've talked about that already. But many times people from other industries have dealt with the same issues that you're needing help with now. So one of the advantages can be that you can borrow from other industries and move into an area that your competition hasn't thought of. So I want to give you an example. When we started our events business, my partner PJ and I had an events business for 13 years. My background, my career had been in the music industry. I worked for Virgin in my early 20s, and I'd worked at another couple of record labels on a temporary basis. So what I got to see is how they took a person, an artist, a band or an individual, and they built a brand around that individual. They built their profile and they made them famous. And as an events business, that's not how events businesses work then. So we became all about creating brands out of people who were pretty non-existent in the market. And we published their books, we built their profiles, we established their authority, we distributed their audio tapes, CDs in those days. So very much like a record label who might have, all the different music formats and their concerts and publications, we did that, but in our industry. So we were able to use that sort of mentoring to borrow an idea from a different industry. So someone from a totally different industry may have the strengths and experience to take you to the next level and have more advantages as someone from within your industry who might be a little blinkered as to opportunities that might be out there. The other thing you want to think about with your mentor is to avoid controlling personalities, and I'll explain what I mean by that. In my opinion, a mentor's role is to help you make your own decisions, so not to make the decisions for you. So you don't want someone who's not going to foster support and facilitate you making your own decisions. Now, they're going to point you in the right direction, but I want you to look for people who ask useful and interesting questions that have you think, figure out, learn, who engage you in developing your own ideas. And early in a mentoring relationship, yes, you may rely more and more on the mentor's guidance, but a great mentoring relationship is one where the mentor then kind of backs off and allows you to find your own answers. That's how we learn and grow. And another tip is, so I just want to finish that point off. And so you want to ensure that they're not just feeding you all the answers. You definitely want the answers, but what I prefer is someone who asks really great questions that allows me to discover my own answers, because when I do that, the learning is kind of embodied in me. Another thing when you decide you want a mentor is to put the word out to your peers and let them know that you're looking for a mentor and what specifically you're looking for. So you may have colleagues who've already been mentored. That could be a great place to start. You might want to share the news with people in your network because they may know the right person for you. You might want to approach people you admire. Like there may be people who are a supplier or a thought leader you respect, or even a relative or friend. But the key thing I want to let you know here is your mentors don't have to be rich and famous. They don't have to be so far advanced of where you are, because actually I think that works against you. I think you're better off finding someone who's just a few steps ahead of you, who's aspirational but not so out of your league, because firstly, those people are going to be more plentiful and willing to give back, but also someone who's grown a really big business may just be a little out of touch with what it's like to be in a small business, hitting those 6 figures, trying to scale to the 7 figures. And so that's another thing to consider. We've offered mentoring for 28 years here at HerBusiness. We don't offer it at the moment. We have a number of people being mentored, but we don't have the doors open for mentoring. We just don't have the capacity. But what we do offer to every single one of our HerBusiness Network members is peer-to-peer mentoring through our accountability groups. We call these our growth groups, and these are small groups of 6 businesswomen in similar sized businesses, but with different strengths and skills, different industries, and they provide each other peer-to-peer mentoring. And this is exactly how I started in mentoring, is by doing peer-to-peer mentoring. So someone in your group might be in e-commerce or marketing, or be strong in finances, or be really good at teams or communication or technology. And we match you based on your aspirations, mixing your strengths, but looking at what is it all that you're trying to achieve, and putting you in these small groups and giving you some guidelines and allowing you to support each other every single month to reach towards your goals. Now, this is a service that we could charge thousands of dollars for to access this sort of peer-to-peer mentoring, but it's absolutely free as part of your HerBusiness Network membership. And I love seeing the results that members are getting by collaborating, by sharing their strengths, by giving each other the mentoring without the price tag. And as I said, there's value in both free and paid mentoring. There's value in both peer-to-peer mentoring and having someone who's quite a few steps ahead of you. And here's what I know. When you surround yourself with women and men who are growing as you are, it's a great place to find mentoring. And that's what I love inside the HerBusiness Network. We have women who are just knocking on the door of a 6-figure business, and then we have people with multi-7-figure businesses. And so inside of that tribe, you find the right people for your peer-to-peer groups. The other thing we do is we have quarterly business strategy meetings where I provide the mentoring. So I'm answering questions and helping guide members in the areas of marketing, money, mindset, and leadership and team. And so there are some tips for finding your ideal mentor. I'm going to list them over on our show notes page because I went through them pretty quickly here. And there's 8 of them that I've given you here. These are some great ways to get started. Or if you want to get involved in a peer-to-peer mentoring, if you're like, well, Susie, I want to put my toe in the water and I want to try peer-to-peer mentoring, and then maybe I'll go for a higher paid solution or with someone else. You want to be a part of the Her Business Network to do that. Now, if you are a member, then you want to call out to the Her Business team and apply to be part of a growth group. They will ask you a few questions and then we'll match you with the right group for you. If you're not yet a member of the Her Business Network, then I encourage you to join us. As I said, this is a member benefit for members only that we could be charging thousands of dollars for, but we do it free because we want to add this value because I believe in mentoring so much. And of course, you have me at arm's length as a mentor as well inside of the community. So if you want to join us inside the Her Business Network, head over to herbusinessnetwork.com and check out all the details. There's also a live chat on that page. So if you have a question, just go ahead and ask the question and the team will be right there. And if they need to extend the question to me to get back to you, then they will do that if they can't answer that question for you. So I'm going to put the details of the tips for finding your ideal mentor over on our show notes page. And where you want to go is herbusiness.com/248. That's herbusiness.com/248. So thank you so much for joining me here on the Her Business podcast. I want to know, do you put this into action? I also want to know, is there a topic that you'd really like for me to cover this year? I'm planning out all my episodes for 2024. I have some amazing guests coming up over the coming months. But if there's a particular question you have about business or a particular topic, you can write to me anytime at podcast@herbusiness.com. That email comes directly to me. I answer every email and I'd be happy to hear your ideas because this show is for you. I love doing this show for you. I appreciate you listening. And I appreciate if you enjoyed this episode to go ahead and share it with your friends. And the thing that is most valuable to us in order to get the word out about this show is for you to leave a review or a rating on Apple Podcasts. Actually, go across to the Apple Podcast site and leave a rating or review. And you know what I will do in return? One, I will be so grateful and love you forever, but I'll also give you a shout out, give your business a shout out here on the show, which is some extra PR and incentive for you to go ahead and leave us a review. So once again, you can email me at podcast@herbusiness.com with your thoughts and questions, or you can head on over to the Apple Podcasts app in order to leave us a rating or review. Now, if you are a new listener or you don't yet subscribe to the show, wherever you're listening, hit that subscribe button because what that means is that when the next episode is out, you'll get it immediately. And like I said, we've got some great episodes coming up for you in the coming weeks and months. You're awesome. Join me next time right here on the Her Business podcast. Bye for now.